Hi guys, Luton here, and today I'm going to be showing you how, as a Zeus, I can bring reinforcements in against friendly players. Now, bringing in reinforcements is a very fluid thing to do. It adds a lot of dynamic elements to a mission, and right now we're on a standard invade and annex mission. So bringing up the map, you can see right here, this is the current objective area, this red hashed area. Here's the radio tower, which the team have to destroy, and here are some friendly forces moving in towards the objective. But bringing in reinforcements is something that they will have to contend with, something that they won't be necessarily expecting, and I can do this very, very easily. So first of all, what we need to do is have the Ares mod installed, and that's a very simple mod that you can just download from Armaholic and install. I'll put the link down below. Now right now we can see we've got some enemy here in the woods. There's some guys on the hilltop here. They sound like they're having a bit of full-on contact up here. Here's the friendly guys down here, probably in the woodland. You can see the trace of fire coming right there. So the AI are doing a good job of trying to repel that attack. But you know, maybe they need some reinforcements. Well, we have got a helipad right up here on top of the hill, so maybe we can, you know, reinforce this hilltop a little bit. So what I'm going to do is click here on the reinforcements tab in Ares. I'm going to create a new LZ, which is obviously landing zone. You can then also create a new RP, which is a rally point. I'm going to put the rally point just here behind this wall. And then what I'm going to do is go to spawn units. Now you can spawn this a little way away. It's good to give a bit of distance so that the enemy units have to actually get to the objective rather than just slapping them in. It looks a lot more natural, it looks a lot more realistic, and it creates a much more exciting environment for people on the ground. So let's go about this far away. Usually go several kilometers out. Click spawn. And then you can choose what side, CSAT, NATO, AAF. You could even call in reinforcements for human players on the ground, give them some AI assistance if they need it perhaps. Maybe there's like 2-3 guys, they're isolated, they're not getting any help from the other teammates. You want to help reinforce them a little bit. We're going to go ahead and choose CSAT. We're also going to choose vehicle type. There's a lot of vehicle choices here. We can have unarmed light vehicles plus some scouts. Armed light vehicles, which would be like Ifrits and stuff. Dedicated troop trucks, which are just transports. APCs, anti-personnel carriers, and heavy troop transports. That's going to be some armoured carriers, like Marids and things like that. Unarmed aircraft, that's generally going to be Orcas, Tarus. Light armed aircraft, it'll be armed Orcas. And then we can have unarmed boats, armed boats. So we're going to choose unarmed aircraft. RTB and despawn, this means return to base and despawn, so basically it will drop the guys off and then it will go back to the spawn point and despawn, or you can choose stay at LZ. For the helicopter, you're going to generally have RTB and despawn. If it's like a troop transport and an APC, you're going to have stay at LZ, because you kind of want them to stay there to help support the guys. Vehicle landing zone. You can choose this to be random, so maybe you have multiple LZs. You could have like 3 or 4 LZs around an objective, and you choose random. They'll just go to one of those, so you don't know which, and it's kind of good. It means you don't have to worry about it. It also means that, in a way, you're taking the element of choice away from yourself, which is a good thing, again, to be fair to the guys on the ground. But we're going to choose nearest, or you can also choose like farthest, least used, whatever. LZ Oscar. The reason it's Oscar and not Alpha or Bravo or Charlie is because this mission has been running for some time, and maybe this mission has maybe been up for like 24 hours, so other Zeuses have probably been on and been doing reinforcements, and for that reason it's only given me the option of this. I'm just going to choose nearest. And then rally point, again, you can do the same thing. It's got a foxtrot there, so I'm going to choose nearest. Unit behavior, you can choose them to be relaxed, cautious, or combat. Well, I'm going to choose cautious. So we go, okay, now here comes the helicopter. We'll just watch this one, and I'll show you something else straight after this. Now, sorry, I don't have my gamepad in today, so it's going to be a little bit jerky. The helicopter is kind of cautiously approaching the LZ. An interesting thing is that when they've got these bench loadouts from Taro, where the guys are actually sort of underneath the helicopter and just sitting on the back, if they fly over enemy forces, if they fly over any of the human players, they will actually start shooting down. Now this guy, if you're wondering why his behaviour is being kind of weird, it's probably because there's a jet passing by and he's a little bit aware of that. Or, oh no, actually that's not the case. They seem to be shooting at someone on the ground here. Oh, there are a couple of far out human players, and the guys on the helicopter have actually spotted this. So this is a great example of how I didn't even intend this to happen, but apparently there's a couple of human players out here, and the Taro is responding to that. and it's basically circling around them. This is amazing. This is not even what I anticipated to show, but it shows how the AI adapt. They don't just follow orders. They will literally, they're firing bloody, they're actually firing grenades, underslung grenades from the guys on the bench, I think. But yeah, it's a great example, this, of how the AI are not just a case of point, click, and off they go to. They will adapt to a situation. But I don't really want to have these guys having this trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take control of this helicopter. Now I can take control of any AI unit. I can still hear the guys underneath me shooting. Now here's the thing. See this distance marker up here, 1.3k? Whenever you take control of any AI helicopter, it will give you this option. Let's see if we've got far enough away for it to just kind of get on with it now. Now here's the thing, is that when an AI approaches a zone like this to do a landing, I'm wondering whether he's going to actually go to land or whether he's going to cycle back to those units that they were attacking before. If he cycles back, then I will land it myself. And he seems determined to take these guys out. There's two things to note about this, right? When an AI is approaching a landing zone, if they're taking fire, they will often not immediately land. That's why you'll see the helicopters kind of come in and go high in the sky and then fly around for a bit. They often want to be safe, you know, before they actually start to come down. The AI also tend to land in a fairly generic way. They tend to fly up in the sky. These guys on the ground are not smart to keep shooting at this, because if they keep shooting at this, it's going to come back toward them. But anyway, so the point is it actually coming into land? No. But the point is that the AI will respond fluidly, especially when they're in a helicopter. If they're taking contact, they'll try and get away. If they see a target, they will try and engage it before they come into land or whatever. And they will generally sort of fly around for a little bit. So when you call in reinforcements, it's not as if they will just go straight to that point and immediately land and then go again. That isn't what happens. If you want that to happen, the very best thing that I find is to literally take control yourself of the helicopter, which is what I'm going to do now. When it wants to let me get control. Let's try this the other way. So, a lot of the time, if I call in like 2 or 3 helicopters, I often control one so that I can get it straight in, and then I just let the others do whatever it is they want to do. Now, as I say, the thing is that controlling AI in Zeus is often pretty fluid. They don't always do what you want to do. I think many people often have this impression that when you're Zeus controlling stuff, like AI and stuff in general, that you have direct control over them and they literally do whatever I tell them to, but it's really not the case at all. Right, there we go. Now you see here they just automatically get out because they know this is their landing zone, and they will, first of all, look, they take position around the helicopter so they kind of secure the site, and then once they've all disembarked, which they have now, oh, there's one guy still on here, but I think he's dead. I think that guy actually got shot by the human players on the ground. So now I will fly out of here. And then those guys on the ground, let's see, they're proceeding to the rally point, and they will just continue on from there. I can just get out of this heli now. Off it goes. Now here's one thing, right, see there, they proceeded to the rally point, and then they can do whatever. I can tell them at this point, I can increase the difficulty a little bit. Yeah, or I can tell them to do a patrol. So we can just patrol from this. They're actually moving away from the rally point, which suggests to me that they've maybe seen something. So I'll probably just leave them to it. Now my Taru, you can see, is coming back around. The reason it's coming back around is because even though I landed it myself, the AI feels that it hasn't basically been landed. It's going to get shot down in a minute anyway. But basically, yeah, it's coming into land again. And the reason it's coming into land again is because although I landed it in the AI's mind, it hadn't actually landed. So see, it's coming back into land again, and this demonstrates how the AI would land. So usually, if I am controlling a helicopter, it's not letting me do the control right click control today. Jesus, man, this hunter is lighting this thing up to get out of here. So I'm just going to fly this thing away. So usually, when you have controlled a helicopter yourself. You want to get it out of there. You want to take it back to the limit, because otherwise it'll just keep flying around, trying to land, trying to land, trying to land. And it's much better to do the entire action yourself rather than just land it. Sometimes though, if you're Zeusing and you have a lot of other things going on, you don't really want to spend the time doing that, so you just don't care. You just leave the helicopter doing whatever. But for the purposes of this, I'll just show you. So that's my insert point, and then we'll just come back out from there. Now the reason we have kind of come flying out far away from here is because I essentially got back to that despawn point. So the helicopter itself will have despawned. I thought this was my heli-pilot guys, but actually it's a sniper team. Anyway, so basically you can see that as I flew out to the despawn point, the initial insert point, the helicopter automatically despawned. You don't always have to do it like that. You can press, just go back with Y, Zeus, and you can manually delete the helicopter. But if you go back to your despawn point and it's set to despawn, it will just despawn. Now, although we set that LZ, rather than constantly making new LZ points, because so many seem to have been made on this mission currently already, what I can do is I can bring in new points. So although we've added some new there, so I can, sorry, not new points, I can drag this across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this across to like here, and that's my LZ. I'm going to grab this rally point, and I'm going to put the rally point like here. So now what I'm going to do is bring in some new units. So we're going to come up here. There's a drone flying around there, so trying to put it. I don't know where these guys went to, so hopefully they've put a bit of distance between themselves. So now reinforcements, I'm going to go to spawn units again. I'm going to put some units here, and this time we're going to have APC heavy troop and stay at LZ. Nearest, cautious. So off we go, and there it spawns a load of guys and a Marid. Spawn another unit right here. And it's going to spawn this guy right here. It's going to spawn it's a Tigris but armed with a thingy. Oh, it's a Kamish, sorry, it's just a BTR basically. Oh, and Kamish is shooting at that drone. Get wrecked, drone. Now, a lot of people don't like Zeus because they often feel like, as a human player, it's kind of giving you things that you wouldn't have had to deal with normally on the mission. But essentially what it does is it makes the mission more fluid, and the reinforcements are a pretty strong part of that. To be fair, very often, especially on Invade and Annex, the humans have by far and away the massive advantage over the AI. They usually have weight of numbers, they usually have the ability to have access to a massive range of equipment, which the AI generally don't have. Very often the AI have literally soldiers, some tanks and stuff, and that's about it. The human players usually have jets, different helicopter inserts that they can make, heavy vehicles, plus the fact that they can just keep on bringing in more and more stuff until their objective is completed, whereas the AI has obviously limited resources and they will just get ground down. So bringing in reinforcements like this generally extends the mission, and it just often makes things a little bit harder. As a Zeus, usually when I'm watching a mission going down, I look at how well the human players are playing. So nobody wants to just make other people's lives a misery. What you want to do is, and you can see right here that they have reached that LZ, but they're driving around because they, again, similarly to the helicopters. Okay, and this is a perfect point, okay? So even though that tank had come in there, immediately this guy has basically just taken it out. So it's only been in the AO, and this kind of highlights what I was saying about... Oh. So you see these guys are getting absolutely pounded right here. That guy just took out this entire group. And it's like, this is what I'm talking about. The human players are more than capable of dealing with the majority of stuff that you throw at them. So it's basically giving them more to do. It's making it more interesting, more exciting. It's a break from the norm. It creates different conditions. They're going to have to be more fluid. They're going to have to think on their feet. Very often what you see in missions is you see human players doing this, sort of sitting up on a tower or on a hilltop. Nothing wrong with that. But it often means that they have these kind of static battles. It means that they often sit up on a hilltop, like shooting down on the enemy, just until they go out. And it's a bit of a, basically, it's like a duck hunt. It's just a target shooting exercise. And so bringing in some new units, moving them around and having these kind of engagements just adds a lot more, interest and flair to the mission. So that's all I wanted to show today, guys. That's just how you can create reinforcements in Zeus. As there's other things you can bring in, like, you know, jets and helicopters and, you know, attack helicopters, things like this. You can also do stuff like just spawn other things in. You don't have to necessarily use the reinforcements. So say we're in the middle of this mission right here, I could just spawn in a helicopter. I could spawn in something like an Orca. I could just put it here, and then from there I can use Ares and tell it to patrol. So if I just, this is a last real quick example, if I just say patrol from Ares, click on that, tell it 500-meter range, give it a cautious approach clockwise, and you can choose delay at a waypoint if you want to. I'm just going to choose none. When I click OK, the helicopter will start to spin up, and then when it gets into the air, so looking at this helicopter, you can see these waypoints here, see these X's? Those are the waypoints that that helicopter is going to fly around. So it's basically going to fly around this area. Now another way of doing it, instead of just placing it, I'm going to actually delete this though, because I don't want these guys to have to deal with it, because at this point they wouldn't be expecting it, and it's probably going to just wipe out everything it sees. But another thing that you can do is you can just manually drop stuff down, tell it to enter, and then put it on patrol. So again, the way that I would do that is I would just go to units, and I would go to Orca again, just put it on the ground like that. And then what I would do is just throw it up in the air. So I just do like that. Once you put it up in the air, the helicopter will start doing this. And then I would just give it a waypoint, which I just right click there. The helicopter will start moving toward that waypoint. And then when it reaches that waypoint, I would then do the same thing. Okay, so it's already starting to shoot. Let's get rid of this thing. Once it gets to that waypoint, you just put another patrol on it, and it will start to move around the area. And then it will just use its own initiative as to what it wants to do, what it wants to deal with. So those are some multiple ways that you can create reinforcements. Okay, last one. Okay, I keep thinking of new things. Last one. Another way to do good reinforcements is paratroopers. I'm just going to choose a fire team. Fire team is a 4-man group. So I'm going to put these guys on the ground. First of all, I need to put them down before I put them in the air, right? Because you can't do it in any other way. So I'm going to put these guys on the ground like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them and then put them up in the air. And then watch. Once you put them into the air, they will have a little bit of a jet sound, and then you will get guys paratrooping in. Now this is a really, really awesome way. It looks great if you're on the ground. So like if you're over here and you're like a human player, there's a couple of guys, there's actually a human player over here. So you can see this guy, look, he can see those guys paratrooping in. And often they'll take contact from human players. Where's that sound coming from? That's Mora here. So again, look, this guy, you know, he'd be able to see them. So I just put in a 4-man group here, but you could put in a whole squad. You could have like 6, 7 guys or whatever. You could put multiples in. You could have multiple squads. You could have a huge power drop coming in. There's loads of different ways you can do it. So again, this is just another way to make missions look a little bit cooler. You know, if you're on the ground and suddenly like, guys, there's the paratroopers coming in. Look, look, look. You know, so this just creates more interest, and that's what Zeus is all about. It's about creating these kind of experiences for the human players on the ground. It's about things being done a little bit differently, and it's about it basically not being just rinse and repeat. And those are the worst kind of situations. I've seen sometimes people, you know, when we've got like 60 players on here running over these missions in, you know, 5 to 10 minutes. They'll just roll in, kill everything, and then move on to the next one. And it becomes boring, you know, time after time after time. There's no difference between the missions, and that's Zeus, you know, is how you can create that difference between the missions using the reinforcements. So thanks for watching today, guys. Tell me your thoughts about Zeus and Arma in general, how you've been enjoying these things. Leave a rating for the video. I'll see you next time, guys, for some more Arma action. If you have anything you specifically want me to look at as well, feel free to drop that down below, and I'll try and think about putting that into a video. See you next time, guys, for some more Arma.